All right, you're moving to Huntsville, Alabama, and you want to know where the best schools are located. I know this is really important for a lot of parents, but there are a lot of other people that are really interested in buying homes in the best school districts, or at least knowing what the rating for the school district where they're buying is. The reason for this is NAR has done studies over the years and they've determined school zone has a huge impact both on the amount that your home sells for and compared to other homes in the surrounding area that are not part of that school district, and how quickly your home sells. And this is really just a fact of desirability. A lot of parents out there want to be in the best school district, so whether or not you have kids that are in a school district, when you go to sell that home, it may be important for the buyer for you. So how do you know what the best school district is? That is such a subjective topic, right? I could give you my opinion on it. I'm going to give you some amazing resources today, tell you what you should be looking at, and most importantly, I'm going to give you one resource to absolutely stay away from. I've seen so many people fail in finding the right school district just by using that one resource. Hi, I'm Cameron Walker, your favorite Huntsville realtor, and if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know my mission is to give you accurate, timely information so you can make an informed decision when it comes time to buying your next home. So when we talk about school district, that's accurate and timely is really important, right? When you look online, you look at a listing of a home. If you're looking at the MLS, generally the schools that are listed there are accurate. However, schools rezone every year. Somebody could make an error. Also, we have two schools here named Columbia. One's in a completely different school district than the other. If you miscode that in the MLS, now you're in Madison City Schools versus Huntsville City Schools, which is a huge impact on the ranking, where you're at, what you're located, the taxes you pay. And it's just somebody coded it wrong in the MLS, right? So don't want you to go through that. So we always want to cross-reference the schools with the address on the school or their school district website. I'm going to provide those resources and links below, but honestly, I'd be happy to do the work for you. Now, another thing you need to know about Alabama, and if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know we're a buyer beware state. That means it is on you, the buyer, to determine any information about the home, regardless of what was listed in the listing. So if the listing agent puts in the wrong, say high school, or the seller tells them the wrong high school, that information makes to the listing, you make a decision based on it. Next thing you know, 3 months later, you got to register your kid for school and you're in a completely different school district and or school zone. You're stuck with that. There is no recourse to go back on the seller or their agent, even though it was advertised as such, because the laws in the state of Alabama say it is on you to do your due diligence, not necessarily take them at their word. So we're always want to cross-reference that information with the source being the school or the school district's mapping. So I'd like to throw that out there, and this is true whether you're talking about an apartment, house, anything like that. So what are some great resources for that? How do you know if you're right in the right school district? How do you know what the rankings for that school district are and what they're known for? So I would say number one, after you've compared the address with the school zone locator, is going to be niche.com. Niche.com is a great resource for getting an understanding of the school and what they're good at. They're going to go in and look at a variety of different factors, not only just test scores and graduation rates, they're going to look at a lot of factors. The diversity of the school, what's the ratio of students to teachers, what programs do they have in the school, and they're going to give each of these an A, B, C, D, E, F ranking, right? And there's A+, there's A-, there's B+, and this is going to let you know the things that you're potentially going to be important to you and your family if that school's a good choice for that, right? So again, you don't always just want to look at test scores and graduation rates. While those are super important, don't get me wrong, they can be overemphasized and you can miss out on other things that are going to be equally or more important to you. Another great resource is greatschool.org. They give like a 1 through 10 ranking, and you'll see them on a lot of various real estate related websites. You'll see their rankings on there. So again, you got A through F over on niche.com. You've got 1 through 10 on greatschools.org. They cover a lot of the same topics. They're going to look at the test scores, the graduation rates, college acceptance rates from graduating seniors when you're looking at a high school. But they're also going to bring in some parent feedback, and that's so important, right? What do other parents feel like with their kids in there? Were their kids bullied, or did they have a good experience? Were they allowed into clubs? Was there enough social activity for them? These are things that are hard to measure objectively, and greatschools.org does a great great job at introducing them. They influence the final score, but they don't determine the final score, right? And I think that's how you integrate that subjective with the objective to give people that information that they need, right? So those are going to be my top two, and they're what I reference most of the time in my videos. Now, when you want to, those are really rating systems, right? When you want to look at ranking, a great resource is U.S. World News and Report. Every year, they rank the Alabama schools, and I mean, stack rank them from 1 to whatever the last number is, thousands later, right? Happy to report a lot of the schools in the Huntsville area are competing for number 1 or number 2 when we're talking about the public schools, and even in private schools when we talk about our magnet schools. But also, like, there's tons of them in the top 25. So this is going to give you a good sense of, you know, where does your school rate in comparison to others in the area? Let's say you're down between two houses and school district's like number one importance to you. Well, look at what the school district, the schools that home is zoned for are going to be rated, and understand your kid is going to go to the school they're zoned for unless you work for the city or county school system. They do not make exceptions outside of going to a private school. So if you're in public school, the home that you're zoned for is going to be the one that you're in. So that's the information you want to look for, right? So now we've got niche.com, we've got greatschools.org, and we have U.S. News and World Report school rankings. So what are some other great resources? And this is where we start to branch out a little bit, and we really fill in those gaps that maybe those other resources don't provide. A great option that a lot of people don't think of is actually a Google News search. If you type in that school's name, and instead of doing all, because then you're going to get press releases and new teachers and all that, click news. It's going to tell you if there's been any violence at that school. It's going to let you know if for some reason that school was downranked or there was a problem with testing. But it's also going to tell you what competitions their club won. Did the swimming team, did they win another state championship? Did the video game team compete in states? You know, did they get an award from the governor? Did some of the teachers get a special certification? So it's a lot easier to see that kind of information if you sort by news. Another great resource when we're talking along that vein is Facebook. And so with Facebook, you're going to see what information did they want to put out. That's when they're in control of their news, right? So they're going to tell you what's going on. You know, if you go to the school's Facebook page, they're going to tell you more about those kind of things. They're going to have write-ups and articles, share blogs. But another resource is actually go to the PTA page. Almost every school out there has a PTA page, and generally they're public as opposed to private. So again, this is going to tell you what kind of fundraisers are done for the school. You're going to be able to see the parental involvement. You're going to see if there's sponsors from local businesses that are, you know, trying to be more involved with the community. You're going to see who they honor and they spotlight both inside the school and out, right? So again, we're just trying to fill in those gaps, you know, those things that aren't the test scores, that aren't graduation rates. What else? What's the day-to-day experience like, and what can you expect to see for your kid? Another great resource, and not nearly enough people take advantage of this, I have had several clients that do though, is to actually call the school, schedule a time to meet with the principal. This is really important regardless of what school, you know, what grade level or activity level your kid's going to have. But where this really impacts you is, and it's not just the principal, it could be other providers as well, is if your student needs any kind of special services at that school. So maybe your kid needs more time with the counselor, or they need an aide, or maybe they're in the gifted program and you want to understand what that's like. Any kind of those special services, you do want to interview who the actual specific provider is in that school and in that district. So sometimes they have an assigned counselor or person or teacher that works at a specific school. Sometimes they're shared across multiple schools. And that's something you need to factor in as you're going to get the individual attention they need to make sure that they are excelling and really having a vibrant school life, and they're getting out of school what they need and what every other kid's able to get out, right? Now again, these resources are specific if you have kids in school. If you just want to be in a good school district, so from a resale perspective, you're just looking at those original websites that I talked about. So all right, these are all great resources. We've kind of filled in all those gaps. We get a better understanding of what the day-to-day school life's going to be for your child, as well as what you can expect as far as academic achievement, clubs, things like that. So what was that resource you should never use? That is Zillow.com. When Zillow has a home listing, it doesn't pull from the MLS the school data that is put in there by the listing agent. actually it just pulls geographically what's the nearest schools. And so that's why for some Zillow listings, you'll see 4, 5, 6 schools when you know there's only going to be 2 or 3. And those schools may be in a completely different district. So in my area, right, we have the Huntsville City Schools, we have Madison County Schools, we have Madison City Schools, we have Limestone County Schools, and we have Athens City Schools. And depending on where you are on a map, it can easily look like you belong to one when you belong to another. And Zillow is going to pull whatever that closest school is, and you might be 2 school districts away, even though geographically that's the closest school. So you're researching and looking into and either getting excited about a school that your kid's never going to go to, or you're discarding a house that otherwise would be a perfect fit for you because you don't like the school district it's zoned for, and it turns out it's not zoned for that school at all. So I always tell everybody, regardless of what the information is, Zillow's a broken watch. It might be right twice a day, but that's more by accident than it is by intention. So whether it's your home value, the school that you're zoned for, heck, sometimes even if that home's even listed. I've had so many people send me listings on Zillow that show active, and that house sold 4 years ago. It just, for whatever reason, never went off. Square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, all that. But in today's case, we're talking about, what school it's zoned for, and that is the worst resource you can use because it can have you going down a rabbit hole that you absolutely don't need to go down to. So save yourself some time. Talk with me. I'm going to confirm what schools that home's zoned for, and use those resources I provided you to make the best determination for you and your family, so you're getting objective and subject information, but not from just one source. All right, talk to you guys later.